we'll just go ahead and get started. If everyone signed in, that's good. Let's go ahead and go to the item number 2 there, water precipitation and drought update. So Adam.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot to report other than up there in Kerrville, there really wasn't any rain for December. So, rain kind of hit everywhere else, different places, but not where we needed out for Canyon Lake. But nothing really to report. Are there any questions on the report that was in the packet?
So the only question that I have is, so on your usage report. So this is it for the year. These are where we came up with the final usage number for everything.
Yes, yeah. And you'll notice that it's significantly, the usage is significantly lower at all 3 plants. There's a lot of reasons why, but the main reason is because we were in drought the first part of the year. And so everyone did, in my opinion, did a fantastic job keeping their numbers down. So we ended with quite a bit of supply.
All right, that looks good. And we're tracking the GVRAs at stage 2 for Canyon Lake.
Yes.
Yeah, ADA. Okay. All right, does anybody have any questions for Adam on that? Relatively straightforward. Okay, sounds good. Water production update, Adam.
It's kind of the drought report and the third item there kind of go together in that whole report there. Good.
Okay. All right, so nothing else on that? Anybody have any questions on production? Okay, we'll go to the plant improvement projects. Carrie, Lake Dunlap.
Bobby, you want to give
Or
updates
Bob,
on
yeah.
the projects?
Sure.
I guess that's just get some.
Lake Strainer project, they put in the temporary pad that's down, so they're gonna start prepping and doing some demolition of existing west side sidewalk. And get that going next week. So thank you.
Change order on that one, Carrie, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we did have a change order on that. It's a little under $12,000. They had to do some changes to the temporary concrete pad, and there was also some survey needed that wasn't done during design. And so that was for the efforts from Keeley to do that work. It was that was holding up everything. So I did approve that, and the construction committee, to my knowledge, is planning on recommending approval at the Board of Trustees.
It's on the agenda for Monday night.
Yeah, for ratification.
To approve the one.
Yes, sir.
This, what happened? I mean, so the pad was temporary pad, right? What happens to it afterwards?
Well, we'll keep it and use it. If we ever have to access any of the utilities that are under there, we'll have to cut through it. But that was one of the reasons we didn't necessarily think that we needed it. But the design engineer was fairly insistent. And so because we can get some use out of it, we agreed to go ahead and put it in.
Okay, so now that the pad is in place, when do they actually bring in the things for the pilot?
You mean the temporary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Is this for the pilot or not? Maybe
No.
I'm confused.
It's for the strainer.
It's for the strainers. Okay. Okay. Just for the temporary strain.
Yeah, because they have to set them up temporarily while they tear out the permanent ones inside and then move the
Just out of curiosity, and it's January, right? So I've slept through December. So what happens to production when we switch over? I mean, are we going to have any issues?
Well, they'll have to shut down temporarily. That's where, David and his team will have to coordinate with everybody and minimize the window as much as possible. But yeah, there'll be some downtime while they are making that switch.
I'm wondering how much down.
Well, I mean, the point of the temporary pad, right, is to have all the strainers up there. So my assumption is it's really just a tie-in. So
Right.
we're not talking about days.
I mean, is that right? Is that what y'all anticipate?
We're not anticipating long. We'll have to go with David and team to make sure everything's coordinated, to where it's minimum. I don't want to jump ahead to speak.
Do you know about what time of year this is going to happen?
Do we know when that's on the
As-
schedule?
as of right now, I didn't tell you.
We
I'm
can,
hoping
we can
they
get back
plan
to
on
you.
doing it in August or something.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, that's, you know, there's some times where they might not be able to do it depending on how long it's going to be
Yeah.
done.
I don't want to misspeak, but isn't the project scheduled to be done like July or August of this year?
Well,
I think the
Can't
drainage
do.
project is on the schedule of like July or August of this year to be done. So, I mean, this switchover should be occurring before the summer.
We don't have time.
Yes, I
Do we
do.
have a scheduling? Oh, we did.
That's
Mhm.
what's in there.
I don't even have to get.
That's fine.
Even later, close out in September,
Is this the one you're talking about?
September to August, or September to October is closeout. So
If that's closeout, you would expect, I'm looking for the schedule.
construction in September 1st. So I would assume we're doing temporary tie-ins much sooner.
So we'll, you know, get a plan from the contractor and, you know, we'll have to run that by David, his team, and, you know, if it won't work as far as the downtime, we'll have to, you know, work with him to come up with a plan to get it done.
I think it's just, important for us to note, I mean, if when the schedule goes through the, construction committee and it gets figured out, it's totally got to be coordinated through the board of managers too, just on the production side.
Sure.
Because I mean, in my mind, and I could be wrong, but I mean, I know that we've got challenges, with Wells Ranch in a minute. We're going to have this grant on it in a minute. We may be approaching a time where demand is starting to peak. We don't know what the summer months are going to be like. It could be something we're going to have to monitor really closely, and coordinate between the construction committee and then that with this group, so the managers know what the hell we're going to do. But it's just one to keep an eye on. It's going to be a major project, I think.
Yeah, anytime we have a treatment project, that's going to be one of the hot items.
That's just one to look out for the future for sure.
Sure.
I'm just gonna write down so I don't forget. Okay, anything additional on the membranes? Or is that those two A and B all tied together there for like them?
It's separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the additional membrane, that's Garber's study on getting the nanostone membranes put into the plant. The additional membranes that Nanostone pledged.
Yeah.
We heard yesterday from Garber that they're also looking at where they want to put some ozone. So we already have ozone treatment at Lake Dunlap, and the prior GM, John Kaufman, thought that it was really important, and Adam may have too. I don't want to misspeak for him,
Yeah.
to evaluate whether putting some ozone at the front would be beneficial to knocking down some of the organics. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mean to make you have to speak on it.
That's all right. I speak a little bit on it. The idea is that typically, if you put ozone at the beginning of the process, before your clarifiers, that you can get an initial kill on those organics. You break those organics down and you can remove them in the clarification process before they even reach the rest of the plant. So thus you remove the trihalomethane potential. Yeah, I don't want to speak too much on it. I geek out on this stuff.
That's what we're here for. We're here for the technical part.
Yeah. So, that's the idea, is that would ozone work better at the beginning of the process as opposed to the end?
And this sounds like exactly something that Joe Moreno was talking about. Is this the same thing where he was like, we could optimize the ozone?
Yeah, I think it probably
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
But it wasn't, y'all don't want to move the whole production in front, right? Is it just, well, and I know y'all don't know, there's a study on whether you move the whole, you do some of it.
The reality is that it would be nice to have it in both places. That way we can kind of assess where we're at, maybe different times of year work better after as we move forward. But we definitely want to evaluate before.
And the other thing we have to evaluate is whether, the destruct process before it gets to the membranes, right? Because we don't know for sure if Nanostone will allow us to do an ozone project.
Well, we
project
actually do know Nanostone won't allow us, and it's not that you can put ozone across the ceramic membrane, but they have a potting material that membrane sets in, and the potting material would just disintegrate with ozone. So until they figure out something different with that potting material and the ceramics, we can't put it.
So then, because you talked about geeking out about it, and I appreciate it too,
Yeah.
because I like the technical details, even though I have an ozone process at East Central. Would we have to do like a destruct tank in between the clarifiers and the filters then?
Yes, you would definitely want a destruct.
Similar to what we do already, where you have a tank and then there's an off gas of the ozone?
Yeah, what they do, like Europe is a good example. They use a lot of ozone in Europe and they put it on a small footprint. So what they would probably have is a small basin with some baffles in it that create agitation within the water, and then there's a small destruct unit at the end of that agitation. And so it would go between the clarifier and the raw or the settled water tank.
Okay, I won't ask you more questions. I won't make y'all listen to more of this. It fascinates me too.
But that's the one, Garber's working on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
The other thing that Garver talked about was looking at the bin 2 classification, talked at length in the board of managers about bin 2 classification. And then, we talked to staff and Garver about making sure they're coordinating with the work we're doing with the legislative affairs consultant, kind of on the regulatory side, on how we may be able to get reduced down from that bin 2 classification, both, at Hayes Caldwell, which we're about to go visit, and at Lake Dunlap.
So so Ben, does it go the other way? Or she goes down, so it should be, we want to be Ben 1.
Yeah, we want to be reduced.
So reduced is 1.
So that we don't have to do daily testing, we do weekly testing instead.
Right. I remember talking about that last time. For sure. And while we're on Lake Dunlap, any conversations about the intake at Lake Dunlap that you guys had? I mean, I know it's only been over Christmas.
You mean Hayes Caldwell?
No,
Being
no.
shallow?
No, the intake at Dunlap, we're talking about, where it is and, how the water doesn't flow over the dam. I mean, did y'all talk to TBRA or anything?
No, we haven't had any discussion on that.
Well, I mean, it's Christmas, right? So I still think we do pursue talking to them about that. See what's up. Okay. All right, good. Anything else on Lake Dunlap to be concerned about? Okay, we'll go to Wells Ranch Generator Project. That thing should be progressive, right? No?
Yeah, it's moving along. I mean, right now, we've had it before, but we're not going to resume work until March, in the election year.
So we're expecting motor throws in that. I know pads are poured, generators are on site. Okay.
I may have mentioned litigation before. I guess it probably doesn't matter all that much to the board of managers, but because it comes out of your pocketbook to do this project, that's we've got a mediation scheduled for the middle of May for this case, and then a court trial date in the middle of July. We're going to try and stand pretty firm on that so that we're not delaying it any further. We originally had a mediation date in November, and the other side wasn't quite prepared to have a real productive conversation. That's probably the most easiest way to say it.
Yeah.
And so we elected to postpone that.
Okay.
We will be conducting some depositions though between now and then.
But do you think May and July will stay?
Yeah. I don't think we're going to let this go any longer than that.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gone.
I mean, mediation, we mediated once before, early on. It was not productive at all, a waste of everyone's time. We will be required to mediate before the court case, so it has to happen no matter what. It's a condition before we can go to trial.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Hayes Caldwell, our topic of the day.
Phase 1, we are hoping to have that completed by the end of this month. We've got the 24-inch triangle there done. Start backfill. There is a list of, there's some items we're going to make sure we have to take care of before we even hit substantial completion.
Okay.
So we'll be getting with DN Tank next week to confirm their schedule again. Phase 2, right now they're about 60% complete with the CME work for the electrical building. That's what's going on right now, and they're doing some chlorine work.
What was phase 2, by the way?
The CMU building, the electrical building, the CMU is about 60% complete, and then that's in progress right now. They should be starting the roof on end of this week, early next week.
And did y'all use, is it DN Tank that's doing the new tank?
It did the new tank.
Yes.
So the new tank's done.
Yes, new tank is complete except the penetration work that's going to be done, completed.
And I guess it needs to be like,
It's in service.
It's already covered. Yeah, it's,
Was it really?
Yeah, they're working on finding out how we're gonna repair the old tank. Now, we'll see that here later.
Yeah, okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so on part of phase two is we did get somebody come do an assessment, because the general contractor has it in their scope to do repairs on the old tank. However, those, like assessor was done in 2016, so we have to get some kind of updated. So when we get receive that today, I'll send an email to everybody that needs to review it, and then go forward from there.
Is that old tank one of those glass line tanks?
It's a bolted glass line. If I remember
Just
right,
like
wasn't it?
No, it's a bolted steel tank.
It's just bolted steel, one glass line?
No,
It was supposed to be glass
it
line.
was supposed to be, but
Well,
before my time, but.
when I stumbled upon it, Rex, I've never been out there before. Yeah, I was like, oh man, it looks like one of those glass line tanks, but I guess it's not.
It was supposed to be, yeah, Adam's right, there's some history there, and I'm glad it wasn't, but
All right, I can't wait to visit.
so part of the discussion yesterday was on the, you know, the costs. So there's money included right now in the project. Undoubtedly, there are going to be some recommendations from this new analysis that'll increase costs. But the goal is not to increase any costs on the project unless we just absolutely have to do something that, you know, now. Anything else, the recommendations, you know, we'll get with David and his team. And, you know, if we can push it until next year, we'll do that.
What was it? Did you just feel like an inspection or?
Yeah, we hired a consultant to
Tank
come in.
inspection.
and
it's been the only tank on site forever, right?
Yeah.
And so you talked about taking the strainers down, how that impacts, well, the Hayes Caldwell Group can't have that tank down.
Yeah.
And so you can't do a really good internal inspection if you
Yeah.
can't take it down. David, how long's that tank been leaking? 8 years, 9 years?
Yeah, I have a hell of a time with it.
Yeah, it's been leaking a long time and it's needed to be repaired, but they could never do it because they didn't have the redundancy they need. And now they have.
Can they do it now with the new
Yeah.
tank?
Yeah.
That
So we'll,
tank with a bulge on it. So excited about that.
well, have you seen those tank girdles that they make?
I'm just, yeah, I know. Right? I need a girdle. I got a tank that needs a girdle. You know, I mean, something. So, okay, I can't wait to see this. Good. Anything on the membrane filter?
No, other than we're
Before I
still,
go off of that, I mean, so is the Hayes Caldwell folks tracking that there could be increased costs? Are you guys tracking?
We got two of them in the two of them in the room.
I just want to make sure.
so at our last meeting, we talked about, you know, getting the third mobile membrane unit. And so we've got costs from Paul. Dave was working on getting costs from the other two that did the pilot studies, under the assumption that all three would be approved by the TCEQ for use.
Yeah.
We're hoping maybe we can get some cost savings and kind of compete them against each other. You know, as soon as we get those costs, we'll share that and schedule another meeting with the group.
Terry, is it fair to say that you're pretty confident that the third mobile membrane trailer is probably going to happen? That you're not going to be able to get the internal coke membranes replaced in a time that doesn't provide a whole lot of risk if they fail before it gets done?
That's what I believe, based on feedback from David. What do you say, Dave?
County line goes back to pulling their full mount. Yes.
Yeah.
they have to.
Which they're going to, right? Because they're growing like all of them.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if we started design today, it's 2 years plus before new membranes are installed and in service.
If we do buy a third trailer, we're gonna need to clean things up. Y'all will see.
Yeah.
Talking about when we get over there, left us all put in fast, temporary.
Yeah.
And you'll see what I'm talking about when y'all look at it.
So, yeah, the decreased use this last year was very helpful and allowed us to keep operating.
How was that achieved, by the way? We cut back. Oh, okay. All right. So you just lease me water, do something else on your end. Yep. Makes sense. Just wondering. Okay. Talked about filters. Okay. Well, we kind of talked about this too. Anything else on the mobile membrane filter unit?
No, sir.
Okay. And then pilot study that I had confused. Where's that at? Hayes Caldwell.
Yeah, so during December, they went ahead and transitioned to stage 4, which is not necessary for TCQ compliance, but stage 4 is just kind of, running the filter or the pilots up to their max, kind of see what they'll do with the colder water. So they finished stage 4 before Christmas, and now they're decommissioning those pilots. Matter of fact, I think there's a group out there today, right, David? That's
Yeah.
decommissioning. And then they're going to submit their reports to Ardura and CRWA towards the end of January, and then towards the middle of February, Ardura and CRWA are going to submit the reports to TCQ. Take about 4 weeks from there for TCQ to review, and then get back to us on the approval for these pilots. So we're looking at June, July-ish timeframe to find out whether TCQ approves all of these pilots or not.
And then once they do, when, I guess we're gonna make a selection. So when do we anticipate going back to the Board of Trustees? With any recommendations for them?
I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Kerry, but my guess is you're probably coming to the board for the third unit, the third trailer first.
Yeah.
And then I think that there needs to be a good discussion with the Hayes Caldwell Group and Canyon Regional staff on how they want this to proceed. Because now with the third unit, I believe y'all will have all the treatment capacity you need to be able to just run that facility. And then you could have a reset on what you're doing inside that building right now. The problem right now is you can't add more in there, and trying to take what's in there out and replace it. I think the original scope for Ardura was build a whole nother building and just put everything new in it. Well, now that y'all have these 3 trailers outside, it's almost like our temporary stringers of Dunlap that are outside. Now there may be a configuration you can do on the inside, keep your original building, pull all the coke and racks out, put new universal racks in and filters in. And you may be able to take your Paul membranes that you've been paying for in these trailers. Maybe you're able to take them out and put them in those racks. Or you're 4 or 5 years down the road, those membranes have done a great job. Now you're buying a new membrane to put in your universal wrap. So that coordination needs to happen, because that may be what makes a little bit more sense to y'all, for y'all. Because if I remember right, the cost on doing the membrane project, 15 million?
We got a
That's
high
the-
level estimate just a few weeks ago, and it was 18 million.
18 million. And that's new building and everything.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, maybe y'all kind of spent the money on the trailers, use the trailers as long as you can, have a plan for inside that building. I think there needs to be some good conversations and coordination, and it really probably can't happen like in this room. It
No.
really needs to be dived down to some managers and at it.
But I mean, it needs to happen with our doer too,
Mhm.
because otherwise, we got lots of engineers and everything. I love them all, but they're going to come back with a perfect project that may not be affordable. So, I mean, there's going to have to be some value sequencing and stuff done at the same time. And that has to be done in small groups with the appropriate
Yeah,
stakeholders.
It's likely I'm going to issue an RFQ for that.
Yeah. To do,
To do the membranes. Yes, sir.
oh, wow. So that our deer's not doing that then.
No, I didn't say that. I said
Yeah.
likely I'm going to issue an
Oh, I
RFQ
see.
for that design.
I assume they are.
They're not going to do it under their current contract.
Yeah.
I could say that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it just has to happen that way. Because otherwise, what I can see happening too is whenever this comes to fruition and we take it to the Board of Trustees, right? I mean, everyone's going to be looking like, you're holding a monkey with a football, because the only people who are going to understand it, right, is the Hayes Caldwell Group. We've got to keep that in mind. How do we keep everyone informed so we get the proper sequence and votes and shit that's made?
Well, I mean, first it's a meeting with the Hayes Caldwell Group,
Yeah.
then it's a meeting with the Board of Managers, and then with the Board of Trustees.
And
Yeah, they're just making an investment. They've bought one trailer, they're renting another, they're going to potentially buy a third. If you bought that infrastructure, let's try and get as much life as we can out of it, and not just design a whole new building, all these new membranes, and then those trailers last
Yeah.
2 or 3 years, and you have to try and resell them with something.
Ideally, we can offset some of the costs by, they're doing their trailer anyway.
Lots of opportunities to be smart about it, that's for sure. So, okay, anything else? We're going to go to Hayes Caldwell, so I'm going to learn a lot, so I'm looking forward to that. You want to move on to Wells Ranch?
Yes, well, so the Wells Ranch 3 participating members. Especially the project that's going to be executed is the Bloomberg project. And that's it's not called that in the state water plan, but it is in the water plan. We actually have a amended lease with or a lease amendment with Mr. Bloomberg for that water. We've met with the participants and they've agreed on the terms of the lease. And so that's actually going on the board agenda on Monday for approval.
Is it really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, what's going on there? I mean, say again, what's on the agenda?
To amend the lease with Hillmar
Oh, to
Bloomberg,
amend the lease.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
which is where we're planning the well field for that and the treatment plant for that project.
Yes, sir.
So now they still have not, the terms we've agreed upon, they haven't signed off on the exact language. We're hoping we get that by Friday. If not, what I would probably ask for is approval from our board contingent upon, their approval and allowing any non-substantive, changes to the legalese.
Okay.
Any of these instead of thous that go on.
So approval contingent upon final language.
Yes. We have issued an RFQ for the public-private partnership owner's advisor. With submittals due on February the 16th. And that's to get a consultant to help us come up with a strategy and a plan, and then develop an RFP for an actual P3 firm. Hopefully issue that RFQ in the late summer, early fall.
That makes sense. And then the next meeting of the remaining participants is Friday, 10
Yes, sir.
o'clock, right?
Yes, sir.
So on the broader Wells Ranch 3, right? So what we were just talking about, so you guys all are kind of tracking with this. The original Wells Ranch 3, many years ago, folks spoke up for water, right? And so we know County Line and Maxwell, y'all step back from that, which is completely fine. The remaining 4 folks, we're deciding to move forward with the Bloomberg portion of that project over in Guadalupe County. We still have a problem that we have a lot of leases in Gonzales County that we haven't decided. And I know Gary had a meeting back in November or something like that, just October, I can't remember, to ask if anyone was wanting that water. And we still got to figure out what to do, for the other leases that are in Gonzales County.
Right.
I mean, so in my mind, that's very big pending business for CRWA because those leases cost money.
Right.
And we have to figure out how to turn that money into water at some point in the relatively near term. I don't know how much you guys are tracking this, but I shared it with Brandon. I think that there's a pretty big groundwater fight going on in East Texas, and it ain't good. I mean, it's not good. And basically, I think the writing on the wall, you'd be dumb not to see it. But I mean, groundwater permitting is going to get more and more and more and more difficult every month, right? So I think CRWA is like standing looking over, a cliff, right? I mean, every day that we don't have water permitted is a day that the likelihood that the fight's is going to get harder. I mean, it's natural.
Right.
I mean, there's some big political things going on, and I think we just have to be aware of it. But we're sitting on a massive asset. If you think about it, Canyon Regional is sitting on a massive asset, a lease of 14,500 or so acre feet of water that we got to figure out what to do with. And the only reason I bring it up here is, everybody, if you don't need it, you don't need it, that's fine. But we really need to start thinking about how we get that water permitted and out the ground, and probably more importantly, who's going to pay for it. I mean, it's just, I don't know how else to say it and we're clear.
Well, we don't know how to get to East Texas. I mean, we see the fight with GBRA right now, just in our
Yeah.
own backyard, and you got
It's here.
Texas senators weighing in on it on Twitter.
Well, and that's
It's
one of the
here.
reasons for the
And-
pivot to Wilcox
And
water
we know, Springs Hill has got a little fight on their hand very close to home.
in Wilton County.
Yeah.
Not little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very-
Neighboring county.
A very big fight on their hand.
A big fight over not a great amount of water.
Yeah.
That's 1,000 acre feet.
60,000 foot that goes to irrigation that they're aware of,
Yeah.
and we're asking for 1,000
Yeah.
in a part that there's no wells.
Yeah.
And this is in Brandon in my backyard, right? This is, this
Well,
is in Evergreen's backyard.
That's why we're pivoting and focusing on Wilcox Water for both of these projects. And in Gonzales County, we've gotten feedback from the groundwater district that they feel like it will be, and I want to say this with much caution, it will be easier
Yeah,
to get a permit for Wilcox than Carrizo.
yeah,
And that doesn't mean easy, just they think it will be easier. But we believe that we have far more water leased right now in Gonzales County than will be spoken for by our member entities.
yeah.
And we want to identify what's going to be spoken for and offload the rest to quit paying for water that we're not going to produce.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that's our last groundwater project.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to be recommending that we push is the Siesta project. And beyond that, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
That's
Well, this is
the next.
I mean, this is the reason I bring it up here is like, I mean, you know, Canyon Regional has faced some serious issues over the years, no doubt, right? But the one that we're looking at right now is a strategic issue that we're going to have to come to grips with. I mean, because everyone just can't afford to keep paying for leases with no end in sight, with no water coming out.
Mhm.
That's one of it. Part number two is the political environment has changed, and it's changing dramatically very quickly. And we have this asset that we have something of value. And I'm telling you, I don't know if there's a bigger problem, but if I would put it in order, I think problem number one is maintaining our stuff that we got right now and make sure everyone has water. Problem number two is very clearly what to do for this asset that we're sitting on. I mean, it's a big damn discussion. I just
That
think
bar of gold in the plastic box, and you got to
Yeah.
figure out how to
that's
grab
right.
it and pull it through the hole.
We're gonna have to get ourselves sorted out and organized to, you know, for combat here, to get this thing going. I mean, I think it should be our goal for January 26th myself. We got to get this thing moving, but I'm not January, the year 26. Anyway. All right. Cool. Anybody have any discussion, question about future Wells Ranch, Bloomberg? Those two things go together. Let's talk about Wells Ranch. I understand yesterday, the construction committee, we got some well challenges. It's the feedback I got. So interested in what's happening out there.
Well, we did have another well go down. I know David had somebody out yesterday. They come up with anything yet, David?
I haven't heard from them this morning, so I'll
Okay.
let everybody know. I can see what matter.
It looks like that was probably the same issue that we had with well one, with the threads being backwards.
So,
But it was caught a lot sooner. So hopefully they can just make repairs.
you know, my question with this is, I'm kind of tracking that we were upgrading well 2 and well 14, right? I mean, so those two wells I've put that in the category of scheduled maintenance, right?
Mhm.
Then we had well 1 that went down, you know, that we designated as emergency. And now, you know, my question is an obvious one. So now I'm counting 4 wells that are, you know, producing that. And so what happens if another one goes?
Well,
Yeah,
2 and 14 are producing
they're
right now.
producing.
They just haven't, we'll have to take them down to do the upgrade so they can increase
Okay.
their capacity.
All right, so that clarifies something. So we're down 2 wells.
Right.
Yeah, because my count was 4, and I was like, holy crap, that's,
No,
you know, I started getting really nervous, but okay, all right, so 2 and 14 are just scheduled maintenance. We've not executed them yet. 1 is like down. And this one's out of the ground right now because Weisinger's working, whatever. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
So can y'all talk, obviously 1 and 3, potentially similar problems. So one of the things you want me to do is identify what other wells are in part of that original Bear Mat well field. Was it the first 6? Was it the first 7? Or
That
5?
was one of them.
Well, 3 was not. How many were? Do you know how many were part of the first original Bear Mat well field?
Adam, I'd have to go back ground count. I mean, that was the first one that was drilled, and it sat there for years, well, 1 did, you know, that thing was due. But this is one of the newer wells, this is Wilcox well. Do know that the top shaft had backwards thread. After that,
How do we do our numbering convention?
I don't know.
Is it the Wilcox well got drilled in like Wells Ranch 2, right?
Yes.
In
Yeah.
2016, 2017?
2016.
So how are the threads backwards?
Well, you got 10 yet done. How are the threads backwards?
Yeah. We don't know, right? We're just wondering if it's a similar problem, but this could be completely unrelated. So in my mind, I'm going sequential, right? I'm saying 1, 2, 3. Those must be 2007 wells.
No, no, don't talk about order.
Okay,
Number. Like that, and then,
okay.
you know,
It's fine.
yeah, I mean, who knows why they put back in shaft threads in there? I mean, they just.
I would just suggest we go back and look, well, now that they're two different, they could be just completely two different things. When you get two things that, backward spreads problem, then I want to identify what else was built around that time. It could be similar. A similar problem.
It was done at the same time as that.
Well, that would be a concern, but we need to find out first what happened to well 3 now. How old is well 2?
That's go back. Look.
Okay, no, and that's fine. I know
But I
what.
will tell you, this well here was worked on, put back in service, April of 23. It was out of the ground then.
Was it oil related?
I don't remember.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right.
It is.
I don't expect y'all to remember every single bit of maintenance item on
But
every
I'm
single
sure,
piece of it.
that it was because it was down for almost a year. So I'm sure the stems had to all be redone, and that was the one that Allstate, I never could get everything out of them. So that was the end of Allstate, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Replace a bunch of them in like 2018 or 2019.
When we first put them in, within like a year, we had crevice corrosion and they had to pull them all out, resurface the faces,
And we got some.
use different stainless,
Took forever to
Those
get.
are the two Wilcox that we had to do that on.
this being one of them, well 3
Yeah.
being one of them.
Yes.
Interesting. Now you're making it worse here.
Yeah. The water quality is different in the Wilcox than it is in Carrizo. So there is some sort of mineral in the Wilcox that does mess even with 360 stainless steel.
I know y'all be on top of it, but now if this is the third time a problem with it, we've got to identify a technology that's going to work. That's tough for y'all to continue operating with wells go down like
I
that.
remember David talking about it. Not that David, but Dave.
Yeah. Mhm.
About the different metals,
Yeah.
why we're waiting on this special stainless.
They had to move to a higher grade of stainless.
Yeah.
So well 2, the upgrade, will this maybe potentially solve some problem there? Are we putting new carrier pipe and everything down, or are we just doing the pipe? What are we doing on well 2 on the upgrade?
Yeah, it's fair.
Okay,
I will make a comment here that like on the 8-inch pipe, that's 500 feet of pipe hanging.
yeah,
If you tell the machine shops, when you go try to get this stainless, that, hey, this is gonna be a line shaft turbine pump, all this weight hanging on 8-inch pipe, they will not cut it and thread it for you.
yeah.
But that's what they actually think happened back then on that well, was too much weight hanging on them threads. And every time it was kicking on, it give a little swing to it, it actually was ripping in threads.
So what do they do? I mean, these aren't the deepest wells on the planet.
No,
They just do the pumps up top and then how are they doing it? Instead of doing,
I mean, they got other technology out there that you can use. They actually have some lay flat hose now that they're using. Looks really good. If you want to do it, it's good. I had it kind of lined up with John, and then everything went kind of way. And I hadn't messed with it anymore, but you can't do it with your line shaft. You go in with a HDPE and stuff too, and use that. But our biggest problem is all of our casings are too damn small. You can't hardly get pumps down, much less a pipe could. We bare minimum everything, and it comes back to bite us on everything. We got one right now, well 14, we got 1 inch room between the pipe and the casing, and we gotta have electric wire going down.
Yeah.
So we're actually running 2 wires, one on each side, or 2 of them side by side, 2 different strands, where it won't take up a half inch of that room instead of all of it. I mean, cutting corners bites us every time.
well, I don't want to speak for everyone in this room, but I bet I can speak for a good number of them. I don't think we want any more designs that are bare minimum with minimum tolerances and saving pennies so that we don't have to spend those pennies right now. I mean, that's my opinion to staff is,
Penny wise and pound foolish.
yeah, we don't need, gold plated everything, but we need stuff that's functional and works and we need redundancy. That's my opinion on any of our new projects.
I'm wondering if we need to engage a consultant to assess the wells that aren't being upgraded or worked on now, to assess all the others and get a list
You
together.
might be able to do it in house. I mean, I ran into this problem of mine, right? I mean, we went back and looked at, I've had, 4 wells and they've been pulled in 20 years. Yeah, I mean, it didn't take brain surgery to figure out we need to jerk them out of the ground and get them gone through, right? And so maybe you might be able to do some of that. I
Possibly.
mean, just by looking at your maintenance records or whatnot.
Do we have the capacity to do that in-house, you think?
If we could get the ones we got going back up running, do one at a time, yeah.
Maybe
I
then.
mean, we can go back on these turbine pumps to find out if they got back with thread and pull the nuts off the top of the motors.
Yeah.
See which way they go, but, and hope that one is what the rest of it is going down hole.
Yeah.
A lot of times they make them shafts all up, and the last one, which is the one that comes up through your motor, they make it last, just to make sure that it is the right length.
It's a special.
Now, that could be what happened on this one, and it's got backwards thread at the top, and the rest of it ain't, but the top of it was wrong way.
Yeah.
And when I say the wrong way, they were actually right-handed thread. They
Yeah.
needed to be left-handed.
Yeah. But I mean, there's stuff. That's some good VHS tape though, of some wells. Yeah, I mean, that's how long it has been, right? I mean, we have no other records. And so, I mean, something like this, I mean, it's just, my concern is that, if we keep on, dropping wells out there and we get into the summertime my concern is that maintenance projects collide all at once, right? We're doing the filter changeover, at Lake Dunlap, and then we drop another well out here, and next thing you know, and Hayes Caldwell screws up, and everything just collides at once. And that's what makes me lose sleep, right? And you're gonna have those issues all at the same time.
We're 5 months away from budget. I think would be really beneficial, Carrie, is y'all identifying some of these important things. If you think, hey, next year we need to hit one of these wells or add one of these generators or do one of these pumps at raw water pumps at Dunlap, whatever it may be, so that we can sit in this room and say, okay, we know that these things, staff said them, we've seen them with our own eyes, we know what this place looks like, we know this needs to be done, so that we can help by making a recommendation to the budget committee. Hey, we know you're going to want to chop this, but you can't chop this. We've looked at this, it's really important.
Yeah.
Like that's where we can fit in as board of managers to really help staff shore up those repair and replacement items, because it's really, really easy to sit in that budget meeting because that's one of the things that can be chopped, right? You can't chop chemicals, can't chop raw water leases, but you can chop personnel and you can chop repair and replacement. And that's what happens. And so to have that support to say, we've done that research with staff and we think this is what you should do. That makes it a lot harder for a budget committee to get together and say, no, don't do this item, or no, that's too expensive.
They've been working on identifying those needs. We're going to have a 5-year list, whether we call it a CIP plan or a repair and replacement plan, whatever we call it. We're going to have a 5-year list so that we can do that.
Names are funny. I call it the annual work plan.
Yeah.
Right. So what we do in our system, we have a list of all the deficiencies that the operators identify as deficiencies. And then that's just maintenance. That ain't CIP. And then I take a chunk of that every year and I budget for those projects. And they say that my plant operators have a budget, the line guys have a budget, right? And we attack these problems in portions, but we know what they are. I mean, I call it an annual work plan because it's annual, because we only do how much I'm going to put in the budget this year, but we know what's the number one project starting every October. And that's how we do it. It might be useful for you to think of it that way. But I don't really think it's a capital improvement plan. I think it's a maintenance plan. It's an annual work plan for maintenance.
Yeah, well, those are two individual items. Once they become certain value and magnitude,
That's right.
you kick them over to CIP.
Then it becomes a project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this organization has been hamstrung by small utilities that hadn't really been growing, East Central being one of them back then, who didn't have the funds to adequately fund this organization to keep up with that maintenance. And so we've spent forever deferring that maintenance to now we get here and we're just reactive. And this group sitting here today is frustrated saying, well, why haven't we been pulling these things? Why haven't we been doing that? But in reality, they didn't have the funds for it or a willingness from the member entities to do it. And I think now we're all in a little bit of different place. And I don't want to speak for everyone.
Most
but-
definitely. And and at a time demand is increasing too, like demand is increasing, everyone's growing. Crap, we deferred maintenance anyway.
Yeah, and we understand now that having two wells down at the same time, we would have rather just paid for that 5 years ago and been getting them pulled, but like you talked about, in that maintenance of pulling them and taking a look at it. So
Anyway, what one will be dead horse a little bit. What one replacement are we progressing there?
Well, any word back from TCQ?
They didn't call.
Okay.
Exactly. DEQ's got it. They've had it for the holidays.
Okay.
I've got to call in to one person I know up there, see if they can help. One is was going to push it through, he's retired. Months ago.
Yeah.
I don't have that. Get pushed through up there anymore.
Okay, so paperwork's at TCEQ pending their response. And then after, let's say they respond, do we already have a company identified?
Yeah, under contract.
Okay,
They just have to mobilize a rig. We'll have to get on their
okay.
schedule.
So all of the work is done. We just need the TCEQ thing that we can schedule into.
The drill.
our-
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I don't get that approval pretty quick, I'm gonna be calling and letting them know that I'm starting without it. That I don't have the liberty of waiting. We got to get these wells up before summer.
I would
And,
do that.
you know, right now,
I mean, that's what I would do.
right now we gotta, I mean, we're in summer right now.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
you know, if we don't get some cooler weather, it's gonna hit us even sooner.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's coming. I don't know. Okay. Cool. Anything else on Wells Ranch? Appreciate all that discussion. We'll hit general topics. Master plan, you got an RFQ out, it said?
not for the master plan yet. I'll get that developed now pretty soon.
Okay.
The biggest focus was getting that P3 owners advisor RFQ out.
Okay.
So
So that, I'm just putting that down in my notes as pending issuance of the RFQ. For IMB, the communication, list, Michaela was very kind to provide, the roll-up of the list. I know City of Livonia is back here. We need a point of contact for them. I think we need something for, does that mean Maxwell needs point of contact?
Maxwell does not want to participate.
Okay, that's cool.
you want to hear from them?
And that would complete our list.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we just need to get Livonia there. All right.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Tours, we're gonna do Case Conwell after this. The intent is to hit Wells Ranch next, right? And I'm thinking about the Wells Ranch space out there. Is there somewhere that we can gather in there?
not really.
Outside,
I'm good with outside.
there's a roof we can get under,
I mean, it's basically gonna have to be a standing meeting, I think.
I'm okay with standing meetings, because when we sit, we talk too damn much. So,
Y'all need a meeting in Gonzales?
Tom,
Y'all need a place to meet in Gonzales?
is there somewhere out there?
Sure. We can arrange that.
Sorry.
If y'all need, I mean, we have an office in town over there if y'all need it. Is that what you're asking? Or, because Wells Ranch is further out towards, it's in the country.
Yeah.
If y'all wanted a place to meet. Pretty sure you could
I don't
arrange
know.
that.
I'll let you guys work that out. But I mean, I'm okay with the standing meeting.
Right.
Yeah,
Delegated.
yeah,
Go from there.
because we'll talk a whole lot less. It'll be amazing, right? So, all right, sounds good. So we'll plan that for February, if y'all have no objections over that. And then if it's really cold or something, I'll wear a jacket. Ain't no one here gonna melt, are you? Okay, we'll be fine then. All right, so, okay, do you have the board of trustees agenda? Okay, let's take a quick peek.
I was out of the office yesterday, so let me see if
Just go on the CRWA website. It should be.
it was-
Posted yesterday.
no, it wasn't. I don't think. Interesting. So the agenda's not here. Nope, the agenda's not here.
Yeah. I talked to Hannah yesterday, like.
It's posted
before
on
she
the
posted it.
Secretary of State's website,
Oh, the
Okay.
Secretary of State.
so,
They're in more than 3 times.
yeah,
I'm a Secretary of State. Huh?
give me just a second, because I don't think Carrie has it.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh, you have the updated one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, never mind, Carrie's gonna email it to me.
Real quick, while we're waiting on that, Michaela was kind enough to pass me over the list
Oh, yeah.
of board of managers. So I see here, City of Livonia has Lindsay Wheeler. Lindsay's not in town right now. I think City of Livonia, y'all probably need to put something on the agenda to appoint someone else to the board of managers. So the entities have to appoint someone to the board of managers, and that's the person who's your representative on here. So y'all want to get an agenda item, and they can give you the perfect, easy, simple resolution. So you can put yourself on it, whichever one of you is going to be on it. Springs Hill, same thing. SS, I'll beat up Carlos and find out why he hasn't put himself on here. And then we need to find out from County Line whether it's you or Humberto. Because right now it's Humberto. So, okay.
Okay,
And then also on the table back there, Michaela was kind enough to make us a list of all the meeting dates. If y'all want to grab that list off the table, you'll be good because I'm the one that screws this up. I'm always calling Michaela, hey, when's the damn meeting again? But now I've got my calendar straight. So Michaela, I'll leave you alone. But
you're good.
she was kind enough because of my stupidity to make a list for everyone.
I
So
can't even
thank
get
you very
onto a
much.
network.
We're not gonna be able to pull up the agenda for board of trustees.
So Board of Trustees, we've got 2 ratifications to make on change orders. One for Hayes Caldwell, which was just under $5,000 for some flashing that needs to be installed on the, I guess, the electrical room.
building, yeah.
Roof. What else do we have?
The other one was the one for the concrete pad.
Yeah, the one that y'all heard about, the ratification for the approximately $12,000
Yeah.
change order for the concrete pad like Dunlap.
I mean, I can pull up the temporary one.
We've got the discussion on the general manager's contract. Carrie's contract's up in March. We've got litigation item with City of San Marcos and executive session with a potential action item coming out of executive session.
I can't get it. Sorry.
County Line asked for a couple items related to the hiring of the assistant GM and with hiring practices at Canyon Regional. Those are 2 items that are on the agenda.
Then the amendment to the Bloomberg lease.
The amendment to the Bloomberg lease. I think
Oh, yeah.
that's about
That
it. I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, on those ones for the Hayes Caldwell folks, I mean, the change order, any issues? I mean, we'll concur with that one. I mean, I think it's right. I mean, the concrete pad thing, I wish we didn't have to court, but fine, it's there, whatever. I mean, it's what it is.
The flashing, it was not caught in design. It's
Yeah.
but the cost would have been there if
Yeah.
it were in there.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's not something we can
Okay, so
recoup. It's just
with no
under
objections, I'll
5,000.
recommend approval for the Board of Trustees on those. GM contract got nothing to do with us. Litigation with San Marcos got everything to do with us. Hiring the assistant GM, I'm flabbergasted. I don't know what that's all about, but that'll be an entertaining discussion. And then the Bloomberg lease, I do think we should recommend to the Board of Trustees to go ahead and do that.
Mhm.
Because that's, to my understanding, is part of the group, right? That it's basically it's gonna change the rate of the acre feet, per acre feet price
Yes, sir.
of the lease. We really don't have any other choice but to do that because we want to move forward with this project. So the recommendation is going to be yes, unless anyone, has some objection to
I
that.
think the only challenge for this
Yeah.
group is there's a number of them that probably aren't aware
Probably
of
not.
what we're
That's
talking about.
exactly
That
right.
might be the only challenge in making a recommendation from this full board when you and I know and staff knows a
Okay.
little bit better.
I'll forego it then. I'll forego any recommendation on that. Anything else? The group have anything you want to talk about next month in particular? Anything, Carrie, any assistance you need from us between now and next month?
Now the ordinary.
All right. Well, kind of what's the way ahead going from here? We all go to Hayes, Colorado